Mark, happy to meet you. Happy to be talking to you, talking about football. A lot of interesting games to start off the couple of first weeks of college football,
Right.
especially where you guys were out last week. But looking forward to this weekend. Big noon kickoff.
Yeah.
Announced a couple days ago, a couple of undefeateds, and yeah, your alma mater as well.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a
Going
little bit about what you expect out of Bama this year.
man, I'm expecting a great season, man. I was able to spend some time with Coach DeBoer and those guys. I was able to go speak to the team. He allowed me the great fortune to go address the team. And I think I don't take that for granted. A new regime, new opportunity, players buying in. So to be able to spend some time with Coach DeBoer, be able to spend some time encouraging, motivating, inspiring that team, I was grateful and thankful and appreciative to be able to have the opportunity. And I think Coach DeBoer was a tremendous hire. I think he's the man for the job. He has been a winner everywhere he's been. He was just in the national championship with Washington 8 months ago. Just look what he's done since he's been there. Coach Saban retires, and there's lots of transferring and lots of 33 players leaving in the portal. And man, he was able to put together an amazing roster, a roster with 25 stars, most in the country. Jalen Milroe got the number recruiting class in 2025. So he's just a winner. He just came in, went to work, and I think he's the right man for the job. And I'm looking forward to seeing this team accomplish big things this year.
I wanted to just shout out the trophy behind you and talk a little bit about Jalen and maybe a potential of making a run towards that this year.
Jalen's is just a special player, man, and I just commend him for what he's been able to do. I mean, look at the adversity he's overcame last year, essentially getting benched for South Florida, which was about a year ago, exactly Saturday, and then coming forward and the growth, the maturation, the decision making, and playmaking ability. If he didn't have the growth that he had last season, we wouldn't have been where we were. So just kudos to him, and he's making that same growth, making those same strides, and he's a leader in the locker room. Obviously, a tremendous playmaker. And if we want to go to the playoff, if we want to contend for a national title, we're going to go as far as Jalen Milroe takes us. And he knows that and he accepts that. He's not shying away from that as well. And obviously, it takes a full team. And Malachi Moore on defense, a tremendous leader. Deontay Lawson, a tremendous leader. Many others on the team, man. So I think they just have great leadership. I think Jalen Milroe knows what his role is, knows what he needs to do to perform to the best of his ability each and every game. Because if we're gonna go as far as he takes us, man. And it's no extra pressure on him, but he knows that he's the guy. And you got to have your quarterback playing at a high level, making good decisions. And he knows that, he understands that, and that's why we were able to make it to the playoff and essentially be 5 minutes away from the national championship again last year. So super excited for Jalen. And if he balls out like we all know he can, he'll have a shot to go ahead and get this award too. It'll be the fifth one at Alabama. So best of luck to him.
I'm hanging out here at the home of the Terrapins, sitting in the press box overlooking the beautiful SECU Stadium, and you were here
Yep,
last
we're
year.
yep, we were there last year.
Big noon kickoff. You're eating crab cakes. Uh, you got some roots in Maryland, just a little bit from your time with the Ravens. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the Big Ten expansion and how Maryland kind of fits into that, being one of those teams that's still looking to
Right.
bump up to that next level, sort of looking to compete with the likes of Michigan and Ohio State, and now, of course, USC and all the new guys in
Yeah.
town.
Well, Coach Loxley, I think, has done an amazing job there. Just the culture he's been able to establish, and obviously they've been beating every team they're supposed to beat, except for Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and I think the expansion of the Big Ten is huge. I think for college football, I think it just gives us a lots of matchups that we would never get. Sometimes Maryland has to go to USC or UCLA, or Oregon has to come to Maryland. Like, I think those are matchups that are intriguing for all college football fans, and it makes the Big Ten probably the best conference head from top to bottom. Um, you know, Competing with the SEC, and so Maryland. They've been doing things like we went there last year, and the environment was fantastic. The show energy was fantastic. The the stadium crowd was fantastic. Obviously, welcoming me back, I felt at home being there. So I'm rooting for Maryland, man. I'm rooting for Coach Loxley, and they just got to keep going, man. Just got to keep going one step at a time, man. And the program has been going in the right direction ever since he's gotten there, and hopefully they could take that step out and get over the hump.
And I know you got those Bama ties with Coach, but also talking with some of the ties with your former teammates on the Ravens and that week one loss, literally by a toenail.
Yep,
It was
literally.
heartbreaking for many fans watching. There were moments in the game where it seemed like it could have been a blowout for the Chiefs, but the
Hmm.
Ravens stayed in it. What do you think is the difference maker for this Ravens offense? I know bringing in Derrick Henry, of course, I'm sure you have a
Right.
lot to say about that, but how can this Ravens offense keep up with an offense like Kansas City as the season progresses?
I just believe it's mistakes. I think even last year in the playoff game, just a few turnovers. I think there were uncharacteristic personal foul penalties on the defense, offense, whatever it may be. When you're playing a team like the Chiefs, you don't want to help them, and the Ravens have exactly what it takes to be able to beat them, be able to contend for a Super Bowl, be able to win a Super Bowl. But it comes down to those moments where you can't beat yourselves. That's turning the football over. That's penalties. That's giving them things to help them because you can't help them and beat them. Mahomes and them they don't beat themselves. So if you're giving them penalties, if you're giving them turnovers, that's how you find yourself having to have a toe drag play at the end of the game as opposed to already being ahead and having to kick a field goal to win the game. You know what I mean? So, but they know this. Coach Harbs is coaching them up well. Lamar, everyone over there, they know exactly what they need to do. It's just a matter of fact going in and executing what needs to happen. And they have everything they need, man. They have the defense, they have the offense, they have the special teams, they have the coaching staff, they have the culture. The Ravens are one of the top teams in the NFL for sure, and they have exactly what they need. They just have to be able to execute it when it matters.
What's your take on Lamar dropping a little bit of weight and getting a little more shifty, kind of like he was when you were there?
Mhm.
I know after you left, he beefed up a little bit, put
Mhm.
on some extra LBs, but now he's looking a lot more slim. He ran
Mhm.
the ball a lot on Thursday night. Is that something that's advantageous, or why do you think Lamar wanted to drop that weight, and how is that going to affect his mobility moving forward?
I think it's a learning lesson, and obviously he wanted to put on the weight, and he felt like that didn't work out for the fullest of his potential. I think being lighter, I think being as light as possible is always ideal. Being as light as possible without sacrificing strength, I think that's always the optimal weight you should play at. So obviously, dropping those pounds, it'll help him move better. It'll help him be more elusive. It'll help him not take on hits as much. And as long as you are as light as you could be, but still have the strength, still have the power, and I think that's your optimal weight. And I'm glad that he kind of realized that, and I'm glad he lost the weight because he's moving a lot better, he's running a lot faster, he's a lot quicker, and I think that'll be beneficial for him in a long season.
Just yesterday, Coach Harbaugh said that Derrick Henry wasn't the guy that they brought in to have 30 carries. What is a good balance from your perspective of, okay, let's let Lamar kind of run loose a little bit, but also let's feed Henry, let's get Justice Hill 5 to 7 to 8. How do you think the Ravens can balance bringing in a guy who is used to being a workhorse with the fact that Lamar can now sustain more carries and wants to run more, dropping that weight?
I always thought that was kind of interesting, when they signed Derrick Henry. That's my boy, that's my dog, but he knows he's gonna wake up and get 25 carries when he's with the Titans. He knew he was gonna wake up and get 30 carries. Like, and that's who he was, that's who he is, and he wears on you. And then in the second half, he might only have 30, 40 yards in the first half, but then he's wearing on you. You get tired of tackling that 6'4", 250 pounds, like, and that's when he goes for 120, 130 yards in the last quarter and a half. You know what I mean? So I think they all have to learn each other and they all have to just kind of fill it out. You know what I mean? Because obviously, there's some read things that go on with Lamar and Derek when they're carrying the ball. And so he might only get 15. You have to be able to capitalize on those 15 and be able to make sure you're making the most of all your touches because you might not guarantee 30 carries like you were with the Titans. But I think he's doing just fine. I think he'll thrive in this offense. I think this offense is going to be potent and very tough problem to deal with because who do you choose? Do you add a person in the box to stop Derrick Henry, or do you let Lamar run on the edges and be burning your defense around the edges and on the corners and juking your DNs and your linebackers? And, it's a tough problem to have. Then you have Justice Hill coming in, running hard, coming out the backfield, catching, third down, picking up pass protection. I think their backfield, I think with Lamar, Justice, and Derrick Henry, I think it's one of the most potent backfields in all of the NFL. I'm just excited to see how they kind of, it's a learning curve. You know what I mean? And how many times are we going to get Derrick the ball? How many times are we going to have reads? How many times are we going to have gives where we just flat out give it to him? I think that's something that the offensive coordinator is going to have to fill out, and it's going to be a learning curve for everyone involved.
Yeah, another learning curve is kind of learning how to be able to utilize the skill sets of both star tight ends now on the
Oh my
Ravens.
goodness, that's a
Mark
good problem to have.
Andrews has been the guy for his whole career. Isiah Likely stepping in big moments last season when Andrews was hurt down the stretch, and then of course the ultimate big moment, the ultimate stage, first game of the NFL season. He was a toenail shy of scoring a game-tying touchdown.
If he had white shoes on, I think it would have been a touchdown.
I happen to agree with you on that. And didn't Mahomes say that as well? He was like,
if he had white shoes on, it would have been a touchdown.
Unbelievable. But he had an unbelievable game. And that's the thing about Isiah Likely is he's capable of stepping up in those big moments. How, as an offensive coordinator, can Monken utilize both of their skill sets because they're a little bit different? Andrews is a little bit of a bigger guy, and we saw a lot of blocking schemes from him throughout game one. How could you utilize both of them while also being able to allow Lamar to get both of them adequate amount of targets?
I think you just have to have packages where they're both in the game. I think Likely did a tremendous job doing some lead blocking for Lamar on the edges last week. I saw him leading up on some of the read schemes where Lamar pulled. He would come around, slap, and he was blocking downfield and being effective. His player was not involved in the play. He was essentially ejecting the man out of the club. You know what I mean? So when you have that willingness from your young tight end, I think that gives you more options to be able to put both of them on the field at the same time. They're both willing to block. They're both great at running routes, getting open, great hands. So that's a good problem to have. All these things that Monken has to deal with is good problems. Like, how am I going to get Derrick Henry the ball more? That's a good problem to have. How am I going to get Justice Hill involved? That's a good problem to have. How am I going to get Mark Andrews and Isiah Likely on the field at the same time and get them touches and targets? That's a good problem to have because you have playmakers all on this offense, and that's essentially what this team needs to, get to where they want to go, which is a Super Bowl. And Lamar has these options. Monken has these options. It's a good problem to have. Now we just have to have the game plan and the right way to deploy all these weapons. So it's a good problem to have, man, to have all these weapons, have all these players you're trying to get the ball. But there's only one football, you know what I mean? And it goes through Lamar. So Lamar just has to make his right reads, be patient, take what the defense is giving him, and then make the plays with his legs when stuff breaks down. So I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about this football team. They have lots of weapons. They have a great team, man. I'm just excited to see what they're going to be able to accomplish this season.
And of course, we're talking a lot about Lamar, and he was with you for MVP number one.
Right.
MVP number two, not the case. How has Big Truss evolved to today's Lamar from 2021's Lamar?
I think just experience, man. You learn with time on task, and he's more of a vocal leader. When I came, it was his first year starting. He was always a leader, but I think just year six, what is it? Year six for him? I think he's just way more comfortable. He knows the offense. He has confidence. You see him challenging the offensive lineman. Like, that's leadership. That's the leadership quality that it takes to be QB1. And I think he's just grown. There's he's had so much experience in big games, in big moments. He knows how to handle it. The moment's not too big for him. And everyone wants to talk about this playoff game, that playoff game. Listen, man, it's a team game. You can't always put it on one person. And Lamar has been growing. He has been learning. He has been maturing. And he is still getting better and better each and every day, each and every year. So I'm just super excited for him. He has 2 MVPs in a small period of time. He's won a lot of games in a short period of time. He's gotten them to the AFC Championship last year. It's just a matter of time. Lamar is getting better. He's growing. He's learning. He has the belief of his teammates. He has the belief of his coaching staff. He has the belief of his organization. And more importantly, he has the belief in himself. And that goes a long way. And I can't wait. I'm the biggest fan of not only Lamar, but the Ravens in general. And I'm just super excited for this team because this team has exactly what they need to be able to go on a Super Bowl run.
And I got one more thing before I let you go, Mark.
Yes, sir.
The offensive line was a clear struggle in week
Mm-hmm.
one. Bringing in three new starters, shuffling in even a fourth at times. How does a veteran quarterback, a veteran running back, and veteran tight ends, how do you go about coaching up an offensive line as players and allowing them to grow with these star, you got the MVP, you got an all-pro Derrick Henry. How do those players help younger offensive linemen who may be struggling early in their careers grow and get better and better?
First of all, you have to just continue to encourage them. Hey, I need you. Come on, y'all. Like, we need you. If y'all do what y'all do, we gonna do what we do. The identity of a team starts within the trenches, with the offensive line, with the defensive line. So Ronnie, Pat McCarry, like all those guys, those are veterans who have been on lines, who have been successful, who have been dominant. So you let those guys lead them. You let those guys lead that group of players, and everyone does their job. Control what you can control. Be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, how you're supposed to be there. And those guys will get the blocking done. They will continue to grow. They will continue to gel. They will continue to communicate and learn how to work with each other. So it's just a great coaching staff over there, and they're going to get that line prepared and ready to play. So all it is everyone needs to be able to do their job. And when it's time to be where you're supposed to be, make sure you're there. Make sure the timing is on point, because when those guys block and they give the time, or when those guys block and they give the hole, you need to have your eyes ready, and you need to be ready to capitalize on the opportunity, because that line is going to come together. They're going to gel, and it takes time. It's five new guys. They all haven't played together all the time. There's some moving pieces. So once they learn each other, once they learn to gel with each other, once they learn the tendencies of each other, that line is going to thrive and they're going to be great. But everyone on the offense just needs to control what they can control, and that's their job, being where they're supposed to be, their reads, their depths, and doing what you're supposed to do. Because when that line comes together and they do open up that seam, you got to be ready to hit it. When they do provide time for Lamar, you got to be able to deliver it downfield. The receiver has to be open. So everyone has to just control what they can control, do their job, and continue to encourage and support this line. And when they feel that love, that encouragement, that support from everyone on the team, trust me, they're going to continue to gel. They're going to continue to have camaraderie, and they're continue to perform better.
Sweet, Mark. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for chatting.
No problem.
Little
No
Ravens,
problem.
little Maryland, little Bama,
All
of
that.
course.
All that.
This Saturday on Fox, WBFF in Baltimore. Tell us what we can expect one last time.
So Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on Fox, man. Make sure y'all tune in. Big new kickoff, man. We have a great crew of guys. We celebrate the game of football and the players that play it. We gonna have fun. We're gonna have energy. We're gonna give insight, knowledge from a three-time national championship head coach, a two-time national title quarterback, a Heisman Trophy winner, Matt Leinart, Notre Dame's all-time leading passer, and Brady Quinn, myself, Rob Stone, the greatest host in all of hosts. And we just have a great group of guys who love football, celebrate the game of football. We're going to have fun, a lot of energy. It'll be Alabama at Wisconsin this Saturday, but tune in every Saturday, and we appreciate y'all.
And we appreciate you, Mark. Thank you, man.
Thank you for the time.
And looking forward to chatting more as the weeks go on. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. And make sure y'all follow our podcast too. Triple Option Podcast, man. And we number 3 on Apple Sports Podcast. So make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow. I know I'm asking y'all to do a lot, but I'm telling you, we have fun. We celebrate the game of football. We celebrate the players that play it. It's a lot of respect. And man, we just love to have a good time and celebrate the good game with y'all.
I gave the episode last week a listen, man. You gotta listen. Triple Option.
We had Coach Hammock on there, NIU, who just upset Notre Dame. And that was a great
Ravens
interview.
guy as well.
Yeah, Ravens guy as well. So, make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all listen, man. We appreciate y'all's time. Much love and respect. And big trust. Go Flock. Go Terps. All that good stuff, man. Let's go.